I'd like to welcome everybody this morning to the sunrise ceremony. Usually, we use a open fire in the arbor where we live, but because of the Zoom, our sunrise is going to be altered a bit in order that we do the Zoom and connect with everybody. Today, I'm going to use a pipe um, for the fire to make the smoke rise. And what I wanted to tell you, everybody, is that the tobacco that we use today is we use it is a tobacco that we grow, and the seeds that makes the tobacco grow is from our parents and our grandparents, and they got it from their and then they got it from their grandparents, all the way from the beginning of the world. So we cannot use store tobacco or any commercial tobacco. It's got to be the sacred tobacco. We call it Oyong Kwaungwe, the one that the Creator gave to us through our mother's heart. That's the kind of tobacco we use when we do offerings or when we connect with the spirit. And that's what I have in this tobacco bag here. And I'm going to use this pipe um, for the fire. And I'm going to use Mohawk language because that's what we were told when you do a ceremony. But at the end, after I use the Mohawk language, and I'm going to translate a bit into English so that everybody will know what we were saying as we communicate to the spiritual world. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be speaking on behalf of all the youth people and everybody associated with the youth in this Opportunity Knocks program that's trying to help the youth for the future so that in all aspects, our youth will have a good life, a safe life, and be guided in the right directions. Because today there's too many things that can lead us astray and we can detour from the spiritual path elders and our ancestors and our creator set for us. We can detour so easily, and that's why it's dangerous. And so that's why the sunrise is going to be today. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to use the Mohawk language to fill the pipe. And once I fill the pipe, then I will light it and I will smoke on behalf of youth and everybody that's associated to help our youth. Neka di una skagero te neka di skuya rastrewa te nene de ga adisa nene do ka no hodok aguri koksa se do ka tamo chuk ni chate una ka di ne aus ko ka ni ko rio on stomach una an ka yang wala gitsko o yang ka unwe da ga tok ne sa ni kuna una ka di wi wa he nene de ga adisa neka di wi wa he nene on kono hola to no ni sladi neka di kiko o yang ka unwe ko I kawe neka di an geta kanuna wa ko ko sunat to ga adisa da ga di wi wa he ona Shelo, e toyo goya doctor, and gayon dake, then ojiste, nega diwi wahe, ne angagini, ne angayo golegitsko, oyongwa unwe, angalong ya uste. Daga diwi wahe, ne ojiste, nega diwi wahe, wagyongwa sunyate, yuan sladi. Daga diwi wahe, ne ni oni, ne shelo, ne shiawi yogwa sutlagaha, oyongwa unwe. Nega di ayo goya dagi na one ayo goya hunjus goya dagi na tswa. Daga di oyo kwa unwe se ko kadi wi wahe e kwa sto hake. Nene jini yo ti kili honyo ni kwa shot tra ka. One kadi oyo kwa unwe kwa sonya. Daga di wi wahe ona nene te gadi shone kadi ne shia dalako. Nene ke lelung ya ke rono. Nene shelo in Kenya dosho on jakin kwa dawoye. Daga di wi wahe ne kadi no ni sladi. Ne kadi wi wahe ano kayo kwa getsko wako yung kwasyon ya ne kay yung kay takin so ya do daga diwi wahe ne si ka diwi wahe o ne ka diwi wahe taga dakso ne ka diwi wahe o ne honde jin skada sondro ne ka diwi wahe jini et hunilo kwasyon slaga ne ka di so honle action ni ko kayo ne ka di so ko da hosrat so ko ya di so daga di ona eno ona skada so ne istan ju hunjade ne itkayeli seko sa satsno slovano ne wi wahe la welo ne songo ya diso ne asko ya dagihna ne kadi wi wahe ne kawe ne sradane ko sodalenio ne hode ne ankagweni skon yu kanu tonyo ko hunchak in ko damoye ta kadi wi wahe ono istancho hunjade ne kadi on ne watson kayo kala gitsko yo kwa wa gon kwa soda istancho hunjada ne kadi wate ke wona kwe ne ko ni to di unsa tane ko kwa gweko no dislati da kadi wi wahe ne oya ne kadi wi wahe ne jina chele ne kadi wi wahe ne wasko ta ko ne ka suwa ne ni ne ka tegyo jo jade ne ka ne karunyo ne shele kadi to nisra danyo ne kadi wi wahe ne yin ko ya take na ne ya de na hoda ne ya ko nya hise ne wi wahe jo ne ka tegyo jo ka ne karunyo jo jade da kadi se ko kadi wi wahe ne yu ti wa tegyo ino ali ko ne ka suwa ne kadi wi wahe ona kadi wa take wona ne ko ngyo ko ko on sladi ne o yon ko un kadi wi wahe ne ngyo ko ta kanuna kadi wat ga yon ko gitsko ne kadi wi wahe ona ka so hun jagbe ne kadi so yon ko di hun to yon ko un ne kadi wa ko yon ko sunya de no on sladi da kadi wi wahe tin ho don so wi wahe to na da mo con ciò suma vejo chini hodigyo kwake ne kadi tkai kadi deshe yawi kadi wi wa kadogo de hodi hodok da kadi wi wa he ne shele i kyadi ko dunjos da kadi wi wa he ona kadi wi ina ka chini ha chini hodigyo kwake na da mo ne wi wa he chi kane karunyo jo ne ka tangyo jo jade ne kadi wi wa he con ciò so ne kadi wa kyo kota ne kanuna no disladi ne wa suk kai ngore gitko ne kadi so yo kodi ngatpo wa ko yo pasoni ade no disladi dauna kadi ne no oya ne kadi wi wa he ne disko yo towi ne ka hista ko no hodo yo ko yo tos nega di wi wa he nene shelo nene wi wa he ashni ko di no so ne ondo so umodo nene jini hutike ko ge nene kayunto daga di wi wa he chini wa gohnes tokas ke wan ko la swiyo nene wi wa he nene ka hito ko na kwa di nene e so wa ka ko ni uno wa ko na ka di wi wa he ne uno ka di no ni sladi an kyon kwata anu na mo ne ka di wi wa ka yun tosla so ne ka di ma so yan ko di honto yon ko un ne wi wa wa ko yon ko sonya de no ni sladi daga di wi wa he una ne ka di wi wa he ne no unu fa so ne de ko yon toi ka la gon so un lo la ke so ka hun ta gon so aja unke wi wa he ne che lo ne to ka wi wa he e to ka yan ta jino wi ko ta i ta ke on wa konsla ne ka di wi wa he ya skona tai ko no tonyo ne wi wa he ne che lo ne e yo ko sa ke onu kwa ka la ko on ta la ke so aja unke ne ka di wi wa he lo di gonyo e si ha di ha wi te on wa konsla ne ha di ko ni sa di ko ta ko ne skona ai ko no tonyo ka di no so ne ka di wi wa he on ja ko ne ka di un kyo kwata ne o yon kwa un I su so ri ho ke ne o ne ka yon kwa ke ko so ye kwa di hon to ne wa ko yon kwa so ne de no ni chla de da ka di wi wa he o na ne ka di ne e de sko yon de so ko yon to so ko ya di so ne ka hi so ne e so ni de kyo ko ke ne ro la ko ne ko ni hunde sa ne la wa na kwa gon hok ne ji de kyo ko ke ka hi so Tani kai di kadi ne wa di wa ye di ne ji ni wa go nes ne kadi wa kya lagi na ta kadi one no ne sala di an kyo kwata kanu na mo ne kadi one wa sunga yo ko lagi sko ne kadi ngaru ya uste ne kadi ka hi sum ko ko ne so ya ko di honto ne wa ko yo ko so ne sala di kada kadi wi wa he ona ne kadi ne o ya ne kadi wi wa he ne chini hu ye lo ne ka di wi wa he ne de sang ko yon toi ne ka nun da son a gwe le son ne lo lo da la ko ne wa ta ni so no da ne wi wa he lo we lo yung ko ya ke na so ne ni oni o wa don da ka di wi wa he ne ka di an ka nun ta ne wi wa ta ni ka nun to ne uno kwa wa don da ka di wi wa he ne wa don ye kwa sistonia de ne oxes wa ta oxes in ko ya da ke na ta ka di wi wa he se ko ka di ne ka di ri ha ye rit ka nun ta so gwele so ne ka di wi wa he na ta ha ke no da ai ko ya da ke na ta ka di ona chin do wa le wa ne ka di ye ko yon ko ta ka nu na mo ka wa chuk ka di wi wa he chi lo to ka yon ko la ke ko ka nu ya wo ste ta ka di ne ka nun ta so gwele so so yon ko di hon to o yon ko un wa ko yon ko so ne da no ni so la ti ada ka di wi wa he ona ka di wi ne te ka di so ne ka di wi wa he ne se ka ne kun de yo ne kun ada mo ya un do la ke so ti na nu we ne se lo wi wa he ne un tut ka we in ko ya de ke na tra ona anya ko de hun just dan ka di do ko se go lu na la ka ri de ne no ko nu do ne ko ko ano ne ka di wi wa he ona ka di no ni sra di ne wi wa he ona an ke un kwata ka nu na ne wa an ka yon ko ro to ne wi wa he ne kun de yo ne ko nu do so yon ko di hun to ne so persone ada no ni sra di da ga di wi wa he ne ona o yo kwa un ka ste ne ka di wi wa he wa de ke ona ke kon ge ko ko ne ka di wi wa he shi wa se ju hun ja de se ka nene aji don't so so ni de ko nene share the logo nene we my nene aquax nene share that ko wana hok na kadi de share we nene kanarios in keda lotase gani ko hutkata aje wa josota hunjade daga diwi wa nene kadoko sego nene zot kamage in yoriwa yawi songo yadison daga diwi ali huni dengo ya resto ungo songa ona kadi yo ko yung kata kanuna mo ne watsu chilo to ga yung kala gits kon kalung hawste ne kadi aje no so yung kadi honto don israde wa pa da kadi wi wa hi ona ne wi wa hi ne kaili ne ko ira ke ne so wala mon ye ne ji honja de ne kadi wi wa hi so ta ha ke ko ya de na chla ona ya mon skona aga ha honja de kadi wi wa hi ne ona kadi wi wa hi ang kata kanuna mo ne nga wat sung chilo to nga yung balas ne kaili na ni kamera ke ne kadi wi wa hi so yung kadi hon ko ne ba ko yung kwason ya de no ni sladi da kadi wi wa hi ona kadi wi wa hi ne chikalong ya dake ne te kadi so ne se da lago iti so to kunga la diwelas ne se ha ne aja hunu ni sek ne ka tega johon ja ne jin hod yo kayon to akayon to don se ne krum ja ka di wi wa jini wa gohnes ne kayeli wa so wali wa yeli dan ka di ona wa ko yung kata yung ko ngwe wa chilo do dan ka yung ko ko ane ka di wi wa he ne ko so to ko so yung ko di hon to ne wa ko yung ko so nya de di se ko so wali wa yeli ka ya de ge natural wat ka ma ge ba ya de ge natural da ka di wi wa he o na ka di wi wa he ne so ha e no ka na kwa ne ne wi wa he chi do wa chi a ke ne ka ka la kwa ne ka di ne wi wa he che lo ne ha so te na ya on ayu gon ta ne chi ni to ko ta wa to on ja de ne ka di ni oni to ta ri ha to on ja de na ya on a gue go skona mo de wa ta di ta ka di wi wa he ka ye le wat ka di ne wi wa he ha so te ale se ko no la kadi wi wa ne chi do chi a ne kadi ona yo ko yung kwata kanuna mo ne ne wa chuk chi lo ta ne anga yung kare ke ko kalong ya wuste kadi wi wa hi ona skwa chi a shon ko di on to yung kwa unwe ko yung kwa sonya da kadi wi wa hi ona ne kadi ne ona ne de kini hat ne ko soto guma ne wi wa hi ne iti sota ne so tene ka galakwa ne ka di wi wa hi ne ka do ku se ko sai o ta ke sa ha ke yin ko ya de ke na tsla ye ko ni ha ke ka di wi wa hi ri na ka sa ga ne ko ni na sa ko ta se ta ka di wi wa hi ne ona ka di ne wa de ke wa na ko 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 ne ka di wi wa hi en yo kwa ta ona ka no no o yo pa un we ne ka di wi wa ch ka yo ko le ke ko ne ka di ne ne so to ne ka kala ko so ko di hon to ne ka di wa ko yo ko so ni ade no ni tsla di ka di wi wa hi ona ka di wi wa he ne wa shri hun to ne wi wa hi kai ni gwe ta ke la lu ya ke lo no ne se lo in ke ni to so ke ko on ja ke ko da mo ye ta ka di wi wa hi ne se ha ne ka di wi wa hi ne wa ki ta ke na in ko so tsla ka ha on ta ra ko ne ka di sai wa se do li ne so pe ta so ne wi wa hi sai ki li hun yo sai ko ha ra ne ki ni ni ko lo de so ya di so ne ka di wi wa junior li wa he on ki da gi na ne no ne sala di wa de ke wona ke kon ko ko be ko ona ka di on ko kata ne ka nu na mo ne ka di ka ni ko de ka ne ka di wi wa he ona Watchung kayong koragit ko di hunto kayong pangu wa ko yung kwasunya. Kadiwi wahi ona ne kadiwi wahi ne tagadisho. Ne kadiwi wahi au stunha oya na amane chiniet wi wahi chiniet chinia wahi ra. Ne kadiwi wahi ne kadigi kene doyo yaks wa kwanya hese. Ne kaya digene sa huna don se ne ko di tudiyo sa. Ne kadiwi wahi ne kawe yo kwa unwe ne kadia geliwa ne ka ne asia dagihna ne ko di hunasa ko ni tudiosa ne jinagaya ne tudio dage ne ordina te hiare ne hwadili wase ne wi wahe ahun kato ne jini sa ni kunroda ne jini yetu wa selo yo kwasere ne wasquatka we juhun jade ne kadi wi sea dagihna ne ko ni tudiosa ne ahun tonyo dan wi ahun dara suyo jina ho don so hun di wat stelis en ahun de na kwa dan kadi ni oli wa da gadi so kadi wi wa he ne an kayo kwala git ko no ni sladi ne ase wa kwat kahto sido wa chia wa swat no ni sladi dan kadi ne se kadi to ko kadi wa ni no ni sladi. I want to translate to you a bit about today. Our older people told us, the way I grew up anyway, that whenever we have a ceremony of any kind, that if you're a Mohawk, you should talk Mohawk when you do the ceremony. If you're an Ojibwe, then you should talk Ojibwe when you're doing a ceremony, and so on, so that we are proud of what the Creator gave us. Great to talk that way. And that's why I use the Mohawk language in this sunrise. Although the sunrise we're doing is different than we usually do because of the pandemic and because we're using the Zoom, but it's another way that we can communicate. And also, the Creator, He knows everything. And so I think it would be okay what we are doing. And so we started by saying the reason we're doing this is for the younger people, the youth, so that they can have clarity and they can have the support of the creation of the Mother Earth and everything that's on the Mother Earth, the water, everything that grows in the gardens, the medicines that's in the mountains, along the river's edges, the animals that our people depend on for many things for our sustenance, birds that sing many beautiful songs every day to welcome the new day, to the thunder that cleans the sky and brings a new water in our rivers and streams so that we will have fresh water every day. And last summer, they did their job perfectly and they made new water in the rivers and our wells. And then we are living good now because of it. And then they have planted in the summer. Our grandfather thunders gave them water and they grew lots of corn, lots of beans, and the watermelons grew big too. And so the strawberries were a lot, and raspberries and blackberries. Everything grew because our thunder grandfathers brought the water for them to grow and our people so they can grow too. And so we offer this tobacco to the grandfather thunder and to the animals and to the birds, to the Mother Earth, to the water, to the sun, our brother, to the moon, who directs the birth of our children, to the stars, to the four sacred beings that in the past our ancestors, when they veered from their sacred journey that the Creator gave us and detoured and forgot about the teachings, the Creator sent His helpers, the four sacred beings, to be born as teachers to re-instruct us of the way the Creator thinks and wants us to know and to do. And to those four sacred beings, we put the tobacco in the pipe, and shortly I will light it, and the smoke will rise. And we ask the four sacred beings to pull the sacred smoke as gifts from the human people here in our youth, that we are grateful, and we offer them this tobacco because they have always and continue to help us today. And then it is also at the end, we said to our Creator, we said, even though this is different from what we normally do with an outside fire under the arbors, that we can't help it. We have to do it this way, but we know that the Creator will understand. And we ask the Creator that we are doing this for our youth and to help our youth so that they can be strong and their mind can be clear, and all the things that are here that can detour them or hurt them in their life, they won't touch that, and they won't go down the wrong path, but they will walk clearly and safely, and they will grow, and they will have children, and they will have a good life. Give them the clarity. We ask the Creator to help them, protect them. And so it is. We filled this pipe like that. And at the beginning, when we did this, I asked first the Creator to take the tobacco. And then at the beginning of the world, the Creator gave us fire, sacred fire, and He put it by our side. And He said that fire will help you to live. And also, when you want to communicate with me, you will use the fire, and the fire smoke go up into the universe, and I will hear you, and Mother Earth will hear you, and the water will hear you, and the wind will hear you. And so that's what we have done today via this Zoom. And so I'm going to light this on behalf of all the youth and everybody that's associated with our young people, young women, young girls, boys. They can grow into men and women and really good human beings and carry a good mind every day. And so to all of you that got up early this morning to be a part of this sunrise via the Zoom, I want to say thank you to you now that you want to follow and to practice part of the sacred ritual of our grandmothers and grandfathers since the beginning of the world. And we hope that you all have good decisions for tomorrow. And when you start your family, you young guys and girls, that you will be good parents and you will love your kids, teach them our languages, whatever your language is, teach them, because it's up to you, the parents. If our language lives or dies or becomes extinct, you as a father and mother of the future, it's a decision you have to make. Do you want us to continue as a native people with an identity that the Creator gave us? It's up to you. And that's why the smoke rises today, that you will be strong. And this concludes this now. It's the best that I could do. And it's been my honor. Thank you.
Nyawa Tom, we had quite a good number of youth this morning join the sunrise ceremony, and perhaps for some of them it was their first time hearing Kanyak Keha. So we got a lot of a lot of our youth saying Nyawa for your words this morning, and for gathering our minds and hearts, and for the layers of gratitude and love that you carry for our youth and for our people. So it is a good thing, right, to be able to connect in this way. And I know that Creator would support in any connection. The more we use Kanyak Keha and we use our teachings to create that sacred space in the hearts of our youth. So that was beautiful. I know for myself, when we embrace Kailinu and Gwetike, we feel that embracing within the language. So very, very thankful, Tom.
Yeah.
Now so much. All right. So our youth, that was our sunrise ceremony. And good morning, Gwekwe, Tom? It's time to start our day. And again, Yawa to everybody that joined us this morning. We have our medicine walk pre-recorded video from Girdo Deer at Guyanaze. So if you're feeling that you want to dive deep early into the video, I definitely welcome that. It's calm, beautiful morning vibes. And if you do end up having tobacco, of course, Tom encourages that as well, to give your thanks this morning, especially as we gather. So now so much, and I will see you all in a short bit.
Hey, Jillian, just wondering if you can provide us with some additional words this morning. Jackie is just asking us to keep you on the line here.
Okay, awesome. For sure, I can most definitely do that. And while we have Tom on here, let me, here we go. So most definitely we have some time to get cozy, Tom?
Oh, yes.
So we have a couple youth asking after this, where do we go? So if we notice on our schedule, our schedule is set 6:15 to 7:30. We're gathering our minds for a sunrise ceremony. 7:30 to 8, we have a medicine walk, and then Grandmother Renee begins at 8. So while we have this extra half hour, Tom, I wanted to be able to connect with you for our youth. And I know we have a lot of youth on here that are from urban Indigenous catchment areas. And like we know that, the effects, the colonial effects had kept some of our youth from being connected. Tom, what is your best encouragement for our youth to find that connection within their language and within their ceremonies? What would be the best start for our youth to do that?
I think the first one is probably for them to ask their father and mother, or their uncles and their aunts, who may have the knowledge of their language and also the knowledge of their spiritual ceremonies and things like that, to see if they can teach them and talk to them about it, and get ideas from them, how they can obtain these knowledges and the ability to speak the language. But I wanted to share with you a vision that was for the older people as well as for the youth, concerning who we are and our identity. I forgot exactly how many years ago it was, but it was the first time that in recent years, when our chiefs of the Haudenosaunee passed it in their Grand Council to renew the recitals of the Great Law of Peace. And at that time, a vision came to me, and I'd like to share it with everybody at this time. When this person came, he was awakened in my sleep. It actually woke me up, and it continued even after I woke up. And this voice said to me, it talks in Mohawk, that voice. And I believe that that voice probably was the voice of the Creator. And it says to me, Uksa, uksa, zatkitsko, tanko zatkanisa ana, aela. That was his exact words. And hurry up, and get up. You got to go to the meeting way over there. And in times and years before, I was a bench warmer for one of our condoled chiefs named Ira Benedict, who has since passed away. And I sat as a bench warmer for that chief for about 25 years or so. And so I had to go to the meeting at the Grand Council for many years. And but I had a heart attack, and I was released from that duty under the doctor's orders. So I didn't go anymore to the Grand Council, and the grandmothers told me that I didn't have to do it anymore because of my health. So I hadn't been to a Grand Council in years and years. And I kind of too, because the comradeship of our elders and our chiefs of all the nations. And so I didn't want to go to the meeting because I knew that I was released from that duty. But I didn't want to tell this voice that was talking to me. And when I tried to look at this, who was this voice talking to me? I only seen in the darkness a black oval portraits. In ancient times, how they put pictures on a wall, it wasn't square or rectangular. It was an oval, but it was black. I couldn't see nobody, just black. But that black, when it was talking, that's what I think was the Creator. And here's what he said. You must go to that meeting. But I didn't want to go, and I wanted to tell that voice, no, I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I didn't want to, so I was trying to think, how can I diplomatically say, no, I don't want to go? But then finally I came to the conclusion, there's no diplomatic way to say no. You just got to say no right away. And when I finally got the courage to tell him no, we had already been traveling, him and I, shoulder to shoulder in the air, like two sticks in the air without moving our feet. We were traveling, and we got to Onondaga. And behind the longhouse of the Onondaga were older people, men and women that I have known all my life, and those even that I didn't recognize that were living before I was born. And they were all sitting on the ground behind the longhouse where the Onondagas usually played their medicine ball games to heal people. That's where they were sitting, but it wasn't daylight yet. It was just starting to get almost like now, but it was a little darker. And that man asked me, as we were 10 foot in the air, just standing there, watching these people, there are hundreds of them sitting on that field. He says, what do you see? And I said, I can't see too good. I said, I see lots of people, men and women sitting on the ground. And the men have blankets across their chest, tied on the side. and the women had shawls on their head, on their shoulders. He asked me to see more. And I said, but I see some places where only the blanket is on the ground and there's nobody wrapped in the blanket. Oh, he says, yes, that's Roy Buck. That's Corbett Sundown from Tonawanda. That's Beeman Logan. And that's Josie Logan, the old Josie Logan and the young Josie Logan. That's the George Buck, Harrison Brown, Leon Shenandoah. They're all passed on. Those blankets that don't have nobody wrapped in them, they're just sitting on the ground, are the ones who have passed on. He said that one over there, that blanket on the ground, that's Jake Thomas. And that blanket over there, that's Jake Swamp, Ronnie LaFrance, up to the ones that not passed too long ago. And Alice Papino, and Verna Logan, and on, and Arlene Logan from Tonawanda. And then he says to me, he says, I want you to think about it. It's a voice from the Black Oval. He says 60, 65 years ago, 70 years ago, there were only a handful of people left in all the different nations of the Haudenosaunee in the longhouses. The younger people had gone off to Toronto, Winnipeg, Chicago, New York City on relocation programs, or going to go to university to get bachelor and master's and doctor's degree. They're not interested really to listen to the chiefs or the faith keepers or the clan mothers. They were all being pulled by this power and not by our elders. There was no interest. And he said, and that time thought that when they passed away, that all the doors of all the longhouse would be shut and forever there would be no more. For when they die, the young has not learned, and so it will stop completely. He says, and I was sad for that. And so what you don't know, he said, that time when it was going to stop. To make an example of it, you use the Niagara River, where the Niagara Falls is. And he says there was a big boat and all the people are in there. And you were going down the Niagara River and you were only 6 inches from going over the Niagara Falls. All the people and the children, forever, never to be anymore. And I didn't want that to happen to you. He says in that time, he said, you've seen it, that those elders that were by themselves were crying. They would shed tears when they talked because the people don't follow anymore the creators, what he gave to us. So in order that that don't happen, what you don't know, he says that time, I went everywhere, to Tonawanda, to Cattaraugus, to Akwesasne, to the Grand River, to the Oneidas, to everywhere, Tuscarora. I use my hand and I touch on their head and I touch on their shoulder. And when I did that, he said, I gave them an extra power and an extra way to think. And then when I did that to them, they were energized, those elders. And they began to do the Freedom School, came into existence for the first time. And they started to have immersion, Mohawk immersion program, Cayuga program, Seneca language program, Onondaga language program. And they began to have the White Roots of Peace. that traveled all over the country, to California, British Columbia, to all the Indian reservation and urban centers in Chicago and San Francisco, to remind our young people not to abandon our language or our traditional way. He says, he says, that's where you got the power to do these wonderful things. And by doing that, what you did, he said, is that boat that was ready to go over the Niagara Falls forever, and you will become done. I made the boat, and you made the boat go back away from the danger of extinction. He said, and he says, the reason I came to see you is speak. Whenever you go somewhere, people want you to talk to them, and that's true. And whenever you're going to talk somewhere, people comes to see you, and I want you to carry this message to them, because of those people that you were working with who have passed on. But there are still some that are still living. And I want you to tell them what I'm just telling you and showing you, and to tell them, as I said, the Creator talking, how proud I am of them, what they did. They did a miraculous, wonderful thing by bringing all those tradition and languages back, or trying to do it. And now, when you go into the Mohawks Longhouse at midwinter or harvest time or any of the ceremonies, the longhouse is filled wall to wall, door to door. There's hardly no in every longhouse. That's what they did. Your generation and those that passed and those that are still left. And he says, and I want you to thank them so much. And he wants to cry because he was so happy what we did. He says, and then he says, you know, it won't be long. Oh, and then he asked me to look again. People, because it's getting a little bit later out now. Sun was getting stronger and you could see better. Now tell me what you see. And I looked at them and I seen Tom Porter sitting there. And here I was up in the sky with him, 10 foot above the ground, viewing. And I start to laugh because I seen myself. I thought it was funny. He said, what are you laughing about? I said, because I seen Tom Porter, and that's me. He says, you're right. He says, but that blanket you have on too, it won't be too long, and only your blanket will be on top of the ground, just like Jake Thomas and Beeman Logan and Leon Shindo and Joe Logan and all those guys. I said, I know that, and I'm not afraid either about that. He says, and then pretty soon, everybody that's in that, sitting on that, all their blankets and shawl will be laying on the ground with nobody to wear it. But he says, I'm going to tell you, the power and the ideas and the energy that I gave to you when I touched you guys 60 years ago, 70 years ago, you did good. But now that everybody you are going to pass of your age group, and all your blankets and shawl will be on the ground. It won't be long when those blankets and shawl on the ground, little babies will be born from under those blankets and under those shawls for the woman. And when they start to grow under that blanket, they will wear those blankets and shawls. And when they do, those kids to be born, I am going to give those kids 7 times more power and energy than I gave to you and the guys you worked with. I'm going to give them 7 times more. And if you want to see the Mohawk Nation stand and their fire burn again, and the Onondagas and Cayugas and Tuscarora and Lakotas and Cheyenne, you watch those kids. They're going to get 7 times more power. And so that's why whenever the youth calls me or whenever you want me to help, I never say no. Never. Even if I don't have very good education, whatever I do know, I want the young people to have that sacred gift. So the door can open for them and the sun can shine on them and they can begin the big work. And those of us that are older now, our job is to water our little kids, to hold them, to teach them, to encourage them on the big job they got to do. I can't wait. Every time I see the youth, see them with great power. And already I know in our longhouse, our young girls and boys who are now young men and women are running the ceremonies. When somebody dies, they can bury them, the whole thing properly too. When people needs to get married, those young kids, 20 years old, they can perform the ceremony of marriage. Oh, how wonderful it is. I already see the beginning of it. And the Freedom School, little kids who went to pre-K at the Freedom School, which is vision school, those little kindergarten kids, because I was one of the original parents of the Freedom School, those little kindergarten kids are now young men and women, and they are now the teachers at the Freedom School and the director and principal of the school. So it's working. The Creator's hand is working. And that's what the message I wanted to share with all of you. So there's a lot of hope, even though, and it's not just the Mohawk youth, the Seneca youth, it's going to be Italian youth, Russian youth, Polish youth. They will change this world. They have to. And those of us that are older, more than 20 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old, we have to embrace them, guide them, and be there for them. And that's my message.
No, so much beautiful messages. I know I get all teary, right? I get teary when words resonate in my heart because for myself, and I can just share this with the youth while we have a few minutes. Like I said, I grew up in Fort Erie, right? For my whole life. I have the paternal seed from Cattaraugus and my maternal seed from Six Nations. So Fort Erie Buffalo was always the halfway point traveling. So so it's been very beautiful to be able to have strong culture in our Fort Erie community. And for myself, I always was encouraged to have that strong connection to Ganoseske, because that was how my feet were going to feel grounded. And that was the education that was going to carry my spirit into the future to allow me, like you said, Tom, to be in this role, right? This role, this leader role, this young leader role. And your words just hit it right on, because we have youth actually that are involved in NEPAM that are ready to take that next step, right? Ready to be that role model, ready to take space and find their voice. And you mentioned about dreams, right? You mentioned about visions, and I feel like that's part of the old knowledge that we have to put into the future, is how important those visions are and how important that dream world is when we can put our spirit on the line, on the hotline to Creator and his messengers to be able to receive those messages. And I really, really, truly connect with that, especially when I was made to be a mom, right? So I share with the youth all the time that when we hold a fresh baby, we hold that fresh life. There's this energy that overcomes us that, like you said, is like Creator's voice telling you to step into that spotlight and to be that teacher, right? Be that auntie, be that uncle. And for me, it was holding a fresh baby that gave me that gust of, wow, I want to teach everything to this baby. I want to play school and, teach Ohondagari Wadeko and seed songs because it was my niece that I was holding. So I've been able to do that within my own time. And that's really what brought me to this event. And that's what I want to stress to the youth is that we do live in a world where the Western education is definitely holding space for those young youth to be those leaders, to be the teachers, right? To be the elders in the future. And what a wonderful message, Tom. And you never ever let it down, to continue that traditional way of being into the future, because we know the effects it has taken on our families, right? And on our ancestors. And I'm just truly, truly grateful for all of your time and dedication. And, for you to say, I can never say no, because I had that vision and it was time with me and Creator. And you've lived up to that and you continue to do that. So it is a real treat, and when we make these connections when we make these connections and we see each other, I know for myself, I don't have that. I've never been to Kanutohalege and I plan to, but being able to see you throughout our Confederate territories and surrounding territories allows that relationship and that connection to feel embraced by that uncle, right? Embraced by that grandpa, embraced by that father and that older brother. So I know that from my heart to yours, that's definitely an energy that's felt. And I want our youth to be able to embrace that spiritual energy and use their visions, use their dreams, use their energy, their intuition to lead their next decision, right? To lead their next words and to allow them to be kind to themselves. And that was also a message from Grandmother Renee yesterday, because the values, the old traditional values of our Ongwehongwe people are in the language, are in the soil, right? And I truly, truly resonate with your words. And I know our youth do too. And they're at a good age, right? They're at a good age to have this repetitive reminder to connect to language. So that's my little bit of share with that, is that, it took me to be a mom, be an auntie, to finally listen to Sangoyat Dizon and his guides telling me, yes, you're a young youth, but you're also this auntie, you're also this mother. And we have that true responsibility and calling to embrace. What does that embracing mean, right? We have a comment here. It says, Miigwech Tom, for your message of love. Beautiful words for our future. What an inspiration. Emmy says, Nyawa Tom, your message and prayers have really touched me deeply. It brought tears to my eyes. Thank you for sharing with us today. Sending you
Yeah.
much love and appreciation. Stay well. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Emmy, for using the chat to convey your words. And it really is. This is a good thing. And I know that the pandemic has taken a toll, right? It's taken a toll on that connection. So I always say, Tom, you're a pro. You're a pro at Zoom. You really, really knock it out of the park to encourage other elderly, grandmas and grandpas, uncles and aunties to that Creator will make room, as long as that we're making that connection and we're inspiring. He'll accept that virtual connection to Jigalunya, right? So yeah, we have lots of comments saying that they're good words, they're wonderful. And I know it's been some time since I dedicated my time to this morning sunrise, right? I was just telling one of our co-workers, Jackie, in Newtown, they do dawn song in the morning at midwinter time. And just making my way over here, it was still dark. I had my blanket. It reminded me of that time. And I grieve that time right now, because it's just been, the pandemic has kind of, I'm in Fort Erie, so I haven't crossed much, but that was kind of that vision that I had today, is that when we're outside and it's dark and it's cold and our Wolf Clan boys and men are singing the dawn songs in the morning, how important it is to encourage our youth to get up at that time and to start their day, right? My grandma used to say, Tom, if you get up early, you're an early riser, you're going to be a good worker. And yep, and I've never ever been able to sleep in. My sleeping time is probably 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it is, right? And I truly do. I carry that. I carry your guys's. I thank you from my heart to all of your teachings and your knowledge over the years, from when I was a small girl to now a mother, right? And to now I'm able to be the MC to this event. And it wasn't the education that had called me to this position. It was the tobacco. I actually was offered tobacco, and to use my gifts, to use this connection, this leadership youth role to be the MC, right? To use my energy and my love and to be able to connect our hearts. So I wanted to relay that message as well to the youth, that our gifts, right, Tom, our gifts that were given upon entry to the earth realm are all in our basket, right? They're all in our bundle. And a reminder to our youth to continue to look through that bundle and embrace those gifts, whether it be, for myself, I like to do speaking. I like public speaking. I don't mind being like, hey, how you doing? Or I don't mind hugging. And, I call people hun all the time. And I say, how you doing, honey? I give that loving way, because I know how far that's going to make it into the future. Zion's mom here, Jillian, watching you grow and share your gifts is always uplifting. And why we're here too is you are such an amazing youth who walks with pride and stride. We appreciate you here so much. Oh, and Yawa, so much for the words. Those are the gifts, right, Tom? Those are the rewards. The rewards aren't so much a we stop. The rewards are that good energy coming back. And Tom, you always inspire me to, you put good out, you get good coming back in. You put bad out, you better beware, of your energy you put out there. So it's just an overwhelming feeling of doing good. We had a youth say, overall message, I want to be a good person in the world. And if that don't speak, good-minded ways, then I'm not sure what does. So yes, this was a beautiful time to gather our mind. And I think our sun is finally up down here in the old fort. Right. So so if we have maybe 5 minutes, if there's any youth that have a question for Tom, please, again, we have a few minutes left in the chat before we go into our medicine walk. So I will give you the 7-minute warning that we have with Elder Tom this morning. If you want to connect, definitely use the chat. I hope I get to meet you someday, Tom, she says. And I know she will. Right? All right. So we're just going to end our morning sunrise ceremony. And I'm just looking at the chat here. We just got nothing but good words and good vibes this morning. Tom, we want to say Nyawa for you and your sharing. I encourage the youth to ask school for Tom Porter book, Grandma said. That's right. Thank you for saying that. My partner is Two-Spirit and they really appreciate that. Awesome. Wonderful. Oh, we have a request to end our time this morning with a beautiful song. So I think I can do that. I think the song I can share with everybody is a friendship dance song to honor the friendships that were, the greeting that we had this morning. I was sharing with the youth, Tom, that we have these relationships with creation. And when we are here gathering for sunrise ceremony, that's our elder brother, right? So we can acknowledge that relation and If you know this friendship dance song to the youth, definitely rattle along or sing along. But that's how we'll end this morning session. Hawe hey hawe gaya hayo gaya hayo gaya hayo gaya yo gaya hayo gaya Yahweh ho yo Hawe hey hawe gaya hayo gaya hayo gaya hayo gaya yo gaya hayo gaya Yahweh ho yo Hayo Gaya, Hayo Gaya, Hayo Gaya, Hayo Gaya, Yo Gaya, Hayo Gaya, Yahweh ho, yo. Hawe hey hawe gaya hayo gaya yo gaya yo gaya yo gaya yo gaya Yahweh ho yo Hawe hey yo yo oh hi yo hayo oh hi yo oh hi yo oh hi yo Yo ho yo oh hi yo oh hi yo oh hi oh hi yo. I'll share one more song for our women this morning, because Tom, when you shared about your visions, I had lost a sister 10 years ago, and that was when I truly accepted this way of bringing those visions to light, right? Bringing that love to light. And you're going to giggle at me, Tom, because I had got invited to Zumba. I was at a conference and I got invited to go do Zumba. And I said, oh, okay, I'll go do Zumba. Sure. But the moment I got into my room, I had my ribbon skirt hanging in the closet. And there was a presence and a voice that said, go for a walk, grab your drum and your tobacco and go for a walk. So even though I wanted to do Zumba, there was such a strong presence and voice guiding me to go for a walk with my drum, my water drum. So I had grabbed my water drum, I put my ribbon skirt on, and I was walking along this path and I was trying to find somewhere to sit down or somewhere for water. But when I had sat on the stump, I went and sat down with my drum and I offered my Oyenko Onwe to the water. And it was a stream of water, it was running. And so that was significant for me because it was allowing me to cleanse whichever I needed to let go in that water at that time, right? So I had closed my eyes and I made this song when I was grieving my sister, and I wasn't as strong as I am in the language as I was back then. So I kind of took what words I know and I put them together. But I used the word Jikalunyade, ne akchi haje, and that she's dancing along, my older sister in the sky. And again, those were words that had just kind of came to me, you know, learning of our creation story, having that connection to my sister, and of course, dancing, right? Our woman song. So I had made this song to feed that grief, you know, to put good into that missing my loved one. And when I sang this, I sang it over and over and over. And I could see my sister dancing. And every time I end the song, she would turn around and she'd be like, come on, do it again, sing it again. And she would continue dancing. So I sat there with my eyes closed and I kept singing and singing and singing because she wanted to hear it again. And that was my true time with my sister, is when I was just sitting in in solidarity singing me and the drum and that tobacco offering. So this is my Eskenye Gainese song in honor of my sister. Hi. Ya jiga lunya de ne ya ji ano hayo de ya go no ya go ha je kana ya jiga lunya de ne ya ji ano hayo de ya go no ya go ha je kana ya hay na ho hey hey na ho hey no hayo de go no ya go ha je kana be ya ji ga lu nya de ne ya ji no hayo de go no ya go ha je kana be ya hay na ho hey hay na ho hey no hayo de go no ya go ha je kai ya hey ya hi. All right.
You
Oh,
yanare.
wow.
Shona ya gonna gashona unwe.
What's today?
Shona ya gashona unwe.
What's that one?
Your name, your native name, your
Oh,
real name.
My Ongwe name.
Mm.
That's my next journey is to get my Ongwe name. So I've had it's really good that you asked that, Tom, because that's been the highlight. That's been, you know, something that's really, really, truly calling me to find out. And that's part of that disconnect from my family, right? That's part of that trying to make sure that I get in contact with my paternal side that wasn't there, right? So my grandmother was able to guide us the best she could to stay connected. And now with our clan mothers in Six Nations and even in Cattaraugus, they're going to help me receive that. So it is time for that. So Nyawa, so much for giving me that reminder. So midwinters, right? Midwinters, I hope that ceremony can come through for me. So Nyawa, so much, Tom, for again that reminder to tie us here, right? Our Ongwe name, and that the Creator can see us and He can embrace us, and for allowing me to share with you and with the youth how your words resonate inside of our hearts. We have Connor. Oh, we have I hope to also one day find my Ongwe name. Awesome. Sacred morning and thankful to all. That was beautiful. Oh, Nyawa so much, everyone, for using the chat and giving Tom good words. So here we go. That's our day. We started our day in a good way. And Tom, if anybody wants to connect with our elder Tom and our grandmothers, again, in the quiet room, that's where you'll find our elder connection. And if you need if you have any kind of tech issues, there are NEPAM representative in the tech room. So I invite everybody to go on to the Medicine Walk link, and you'll be able to take a walk with Girdon Deer as he guides us through the Medicine Walk. So all right, there we go, Sheree. She posted the link to the quiet room, and I will see you all in 2 minutes. My Indian name is Gawina Geho. Ona kiwa he.
Ona, Yahweh.
Ona kiwa he, Tom.
Ona.
Ona.
Skunk.